What's with our water? Today I brought some samples of water from the area. This represents fresh water, water that we drink every day. I also brought seawater, which is from the Atlantic Ocean, from one of the beaches in the Atlantic. And to compare it, I also brought water from the Indian River Lagoon. Now, to explain this, I brought a quote. You won't know the worth of water until the well runs out. Water is an essential element of Earth, and it's in need of our help. Plant and animal life in our bodies of water has reached critical levels, and many of us, one of our bodies of water here, the Indian River Lagoon, is in dire need of our help. And a lot of the vegetation and plant life there is being harmed because of the pollution and other effects by it. Today I'll talk about the problems in the Indian River Lagoon and the solutions that we're trying to find to fix it. The Indian River Lagoon is in Florida, and it is actually in the East Coast. It goes from Daytona Beach to West Palm Beach. It is 156 miles long, and it covers 30% of the Florida coastline. Now, there are many problems that have come up through the past years of what has happened. One of them is pollution, and the water quality has really gone down in the past few years. The Indian River Lagoon is a very unique estuary. It has a mixture of fresh and seawater. This picture is actually one of the intercoastals where the seawater actually meets the fresh water. And one of the major problems with the water is algae blooms. In 2011, this really came out, and it covered the entire water. And algae just sits on the surface of the water. And the problem with this is plants on the bottom of the water cannot get sun because they use photosynthesis. One of these is seagrass. Seagrass is one of the most important and basic elements of the Indian River Lagoon. It helps stabilizes the bottom and is also food for multiple animals, including the manatee. And oysters are another part of the Indian River Lagoon that really help and stabilize the water quality. It is a filter feeder, which means that it takes the food out of the water, the bad parts in the water, and the pollution actually uses that as food, and it actually wastes and brings out clean water. So it really actually uses a filter to clean the water. And lately, because of what's happened to the seagrass, it is actually starting to go away because the water quality and the base of the water, or the ground, is actually not as stable as it used to, so all of the oysters aren't staying in the beds like they should. There are many solutions that they're trying to find to solve this. One of them is making oyster beds. Actually, what they're doing is they're taking fencing and using oysters and actually placing the oysters with zip ties. And they're putting them to there so that they won't go away and they won't wash away with the current. And what they'll do is, as you can see, they put thousands of them underwater, and they use that to keep it as a base. And they check it monthly, and what happens is it actually starts to grow over and actually just makes its own oyster bed. And another one that they're trying to fix is because the seagrass is dying, the fish don't have anywhere to hide from predators. So they're making man-made structures made out of concrete to put at the bottom of the water so that the fish have somewhere to hide. They're doing it with this, and they're also doing it with mangroves, because mangroves are hiding places for smaller fish. So it's more of a nursery for them. And without these mangroves, and with those dying as well, they're actually using PVC pipe and putting that at the bottom until they can figure out what's wrong with the water. Because if they just plant more seagrass and more mangroves, they're just going to die again. So they're making man-made structures to help the fish and other wildlife survive until we can find out what's wrong. And I would like to end with this quote and show that if we don't do something, that it's just going to get worse. And there's nothing that we can't do, considering that we are basically the people that cause this problem, that we should do something about it. And as you can see, in 5 minutes, this has completely dissolved and gone completely, it goes straight to the bottom. One thing that you can see with this is there is a fine line between the sand on the bottom and the water, and that is actually the pollution in the water. And I actually let this sit out, and it leveled out completely within one night, and it looked exactly like this. But it's with the pollution that makes it look like this. So how long are we gonna wait until the well is dry?